Welcome to Brobench videos. In this video, we're going to go through user search and a login as capability. There are many places in Brobench where the user details can be viewed. The first and foremost, the easiest thing would be when you navigate to a particular record. In the record header, it shows who modified and who created the record. So this is critically the easiest approach to navigate to a particular user. You can click on the user ID and then it opens that user in a full screen mode. For each user, we show various actions. Okay, so the actions are actually shown in this particular record menu, or as well as in the pop-up. In a pop-up for a particular user, you can see some actions associated with that user, including login as, reset password, and other things. So you can also, if you know the ID of a particular user, let's say you don't know the record, but you just have the ID of the user. In this case, you can come to the records module and you can enter the ID. It'll open that particular record, and then once it is opened, you have access to the same level of control or some options for that particular user, including you can open in a UI, edit in a UI, open login as incognito. So we'll come back to those options, what they mean. So if you don't know the ID or if you don't know the record, so whose audit or owner user you want to navigate to, you can search for the user by going here. Okay, so you can enter the user, like for example, let's say whatever the ID is. So let's say if you search for something which is shown, if you search for the user, then in this case, it shows that particular user. So once the user information is shown, again, you have access to the same level of controls here. For example, you can click this to open this to login as in the user. In this case, it'll open in this new tab, but still it'll remove your current session. Or you can click on the more actions menu to open login as in a incognito, or you have other options. You can click on the ID of this particular record, and then it will open that user in a full details mode so that you can see other information like a login history, setup audit for the user, and a hierarchy between the manager ID and all the other things. So coming to the login as, the easiest thing would be just click on this particular button. So this will open the record in the current tab. So that essentially removes your current session. So a lot of people actually prefer to be able to log in as an incognito window so that you don't lose the current session. Okay. So you can click on that and then it should be able to log in as well. So let's say if you open the John Doe and then I go here, okay, I click on the record actions, I click on login as incognito. So this will open an incognito window. So that's a different session than your current session, and it logs in as that particular user so that you don't lose your current session. You can continue to work with your session here, but you have other window where you would log in as that particular user. You can click on this view login as URL. So this particular option shows the login URL in the inner dialog. So you can copy this URL. You can right click and say copy the link, or you can right click and you can open the link in a different browser. For example, let's say you create various browser sessions. So you can log in as a different users. You can keep incognito is a one session and your main browser is second session. What if you want to use a third user? In that case, you can open as a different profile. So you can keep them all logged in at the same time. So you can do that. You can do copy as a login URL. So it does the same thing, especially it just essentially copies the login URL into your clipboard, and then you can go to your different browser like a Safari, Edge, or Chrome, completely different browser than where you are. You can enter the URL and then it'll log in without having to prompt you to log in again. You have a few other shortcuts. So here, for example, view access summary page. So it will open the view access summary for this particular URL for this particular user. Okay. So if it'll open in the current page. So it overloaded. So let's say if we go back to the record, the user where you were in, so it opens that in a record summary. You can do enable debug, so it will allow you to enable the debug for a particular interval for this particular user easily. And then you can also reset password from here. So those operations are consistent, that shown throughout the user, whether it is here or in the preview and all that. The other option to be able to look for a user is actually from the query. You can query for a set of users and then you act upon those users in the same way. For example, when you selected a user here, you can click on the menu, it shows the same menu options here, and then you can act upon them. For example, in this case, whatever the option that you're looking for. This is about the user search and login as feature in Brobench.